What is up, and welcome back to another episode of the Wizards podcast. I'm your host, Greg Finberg, and in today's episode, we're going to be breaking down the Wizards season opener. I don't know if you watched it or if you didn't. Honestly, if you didn't, then good for you. You probably had a much better night than I did, than most Wizards fans that watched the game did. Because if you had to guess, if you're one of those people that didn't watch the game, you'd probably say this team probably didn't play a lot of defense. Tre Johnson probably made a good amount of his threes. Kyshawn George looked great, and they got killed. And that's kind of the reality. They only ended up losing by 13, 133 to 120. But this game wasn't close. They made a little bit of a run in the third quarter, but it realistically wasn't close. They got outplayed, handedly in the first quarter. Ended up finishing the quarter down 40 to 23, gave up 72 points in the first half and entered halftime down 19. It was just bad. I mean, it was 14 to 4. Milwaukee. Keith takes a timeout. He had already taken one timeout, I think, after it was like 8-2 or something. So that's two timeouts early after the Wizards played zero perimeter defense, like whatsoever. I mean, I think Milwaukee shot, 61.5% from three. It's 8 of 13 in the first quarter. The team just decided that they did not want to play basketball in the first quarter. Everybody was wide open. I mean, you had AJ Green from the Bucks drilling three wide open threes. Gary Trent, who's a wizard killer, was wide open. This team just can't defend. I mean, outside of Kyshawn George, I mean, maybe Bilal, but he's hurt. There's no good real like point of attack defenders, on ball defenders on this team. Um, Alex R had a couple of nice moments in the second half when he was guarding Giannis, but apart from that, he wasn't that terrific, I didn't think, especially when defending Miles Turner. It's going to be a long season. And I mentioned it in my keys to the game. I said, look, you can let Giannis beat you, make the other guys beat you, or rather, you shouldn't just let Giannis dominate like he does. Let's make other people beat this team. And they tried that in the beginning. It didn't work, and Keith did switch it up. But it was just the same tired story where they get dominated in the first quarter, dominated in the first half. They come out with some semblance of life in the third quarter. I mean, it was a 10-0 run to start, 16-3 extended run, cut it to as little as 7. But then it goes right back up. You're down by 18 in the end of the fourth, and you're playing, your end of the bench guys with 2-3 minutes left in the game. It was I don't know if it was Will Dawkins or Brian Keefe that said that this team is going to compete this season. I know it's just one game, but that wasn't compete. That was compete for some of the game, maybe a quarter of it. But it wasn't good enough. The effort wasn't good enough. The defense certainly wasn't good enough. And if the other 81 games are going to be like that, then the season's just going to be miserable like the last two have been. And I hope that's not the case. I really do. But as I'm sitting here after game one, I'm not moved by anything. The defense still sucks. It's mind blowing to me that Brian Keefe goes in training camp, and I said it at the time. I think Locked On Wizards, when I was on their podcast, even asked me about Keefe's comments on how there's going to be a defensive identity to this team, and they're going to ramp up the aggression defensively. And the first day, you had all the monumental propaganda, like the first day of camp is defense, 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 defense. It doesn't matter. I knew at the time. I called the bullshit. I knew it didn't matter. You can stress that we're going to try to defend all we want, but you're not a good defensive team. You don't have good defensive tendencies. Quite frankly, a lot of the players on this team are not only bad defenders, but I think they're low IQ defenders. They're not in the right spots. I mean, CJ McCollum was lost on so many possessions. We're going to talk about Corey Kispert on the defensive end. Well, just lost. So many guys. Yeah, it doesn't discount guys like Sar, who, for some reason, after seeing Miles Turner get him with the pump fake the first time, did not register that might be a possibility again, and also bid on it, which led to him driving and dunking on Kyshawn George. It's all of these things of guys not being in the right spot, not knowing the opponent's tendencies. It's the same stuff, and I don't want to overreact to one game. I want to make that clear. What I'm trying to emphasize is they can talk about the defense and the effort and all that all they want, but it was not there in game one. Um, I'd like to believe it'll be there throughout the season. I like to believe that, but looking at the effort against Milwaukee, looking at the defense against Milwaukee, it just wasn't good enough. I mean, 72 points in the first quarter. I mentioned they gave up 120 a game last year, 20th in defensive rating. They give up 133 to Milwaukee. And it's not like Milwaukee's terrific. Like, I think this is a first round exit again waiting to happen. Um, and yet they just let them run all over them. I mean, Giannis obviously is going to dominate. I pulled up stats because I was just, even before the game, I was like, this guy's going to get a triple double. And if he doesn't, I'd be surprised. He finished with 37, 14, and 5. He was phenomenal. Shot 16 of 26. The Wizards could not stop him. Alex R actually had consecutive stops on him to open the second half. That's why the Wizards went on their run. I actually thought he played him probably the best out of anybody. They tried Whitmore on him a couple possessions. That really wasn't fair, but he tried his best. Kyshawn again tried his best, but Giannis is just so much stronger and taller even than George. So I'm not gonna be, I'm not gonna fault those guys for their individual efforts. It's Giannis, right? But the game plan obviously didn't do much to stop him. I mean, over the last 4 years, Giannis is averaging 35, 11, and 8 in 9 games against the Wizards. He had 55 in 2023. Like, it's absurd what he does to this team on a consistent basis. They didn't really have much to stop him. And so that's kind of how the game went. Even when the Wizards pulled it within 7 in the third, you had Giannis just go downhill and draw a foul and one. I mean, the Wizards cut it to 7, um, and then they just allowed Gary Trent. I think it was McCollum on both possessions, just lost Gary Trent in the corner, and he made consecutive threes, and it's back up to 13, then it's back to 8, then it's back to 17. It's like that was their chance. And the same thing that cost them, lazy defense, not finding perimeter shooters, leaving them open, letting them drain threes, and then letting that lead balloon, that's what killed them. And it's killed them last year. It's still killing them, this year. And again, it's one game. I feel weird saying it's still killing them, but it's the same stuff. The transition defense, I think my guy Wizards Film Room tweeted out as well that it was awful. They were just doing give and goes. There was one where it was like Gary Trent, Ryan Rollins to Giannis, back to Ryan Rollins, back to Giannis. Like, they're just playing with their food in a lot of these transition opportunities, to the point where it was just pretty embarrassing. The Bucks shot 50% from three in the first half, like I mentioned, 61% in the first quarter. For the game, they finished 41% from three, 18 to 44, 51% from the field. The Wizards shot well too. I mean, 40% from three, 47% from the field. What ultimately did them in, like, they won the rebounding battle again by 10 point, by 10. That usually indicates you probably won the game or were more competitive. But they had 8 less assists. They also turned the ball over 13 times to Milwaukee's 8. They gave up 22 fast break points. It was just, it's not the offense, and it's never really been the offense. Like, this team consistently scores above 100 points. It's the defense, and it's just infuriating when all offseason you got Brian Keefe coming out here and saying it's defense, 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 and the defense looks like it did. That was bad. And it was bad from the jump. It was pretty much bad throughout except for the first couple minutes of the third. And I honestly don't know why I should believe, or Wizards fans should believe, it'll improve. It starts on that end. It's been known that it starts on that end. And for the effort to be this lackluster in game one, that clearly does not bode well for the rest of the team. I promise I won't be all negative. You know me, I try to be positive as much as possible, but it was just deflating. I mean, I literally loaded up Tankathon. I was like, why not? Why not let it fly? I actually got first overall my first time. So maybe I'll make this a trend. Every time they're losing by 20 plus, I'll just do a run on Tankathon. Then I'll just tally it throughout the season, and then I'll see if the Wizards will get the first pick or not. I don't know. Just trying to stay sane, honestly, I'm 1 game in, but a really poor effort, I think, for the most part. I'm gonna go through some positives and negatives that I saw. I'm gonna start with the positives because I know I just started with a lot of negatives there. The first one is Tre Johnson. Like, this guy, pretty much as advertised in his debut, finished with 16 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, had a steal and a block as well. I think it was the most points scored in a Wizards rookie debut since Tom Gugliotta in 1992, which is very impressive. I think Gugliotta had 20, Tre finished with 16. Efficiently too. I mean, off the bench played, how many minutes did he play? 26, so the most minutes off anybody off the bench. 5 of 11 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3. He had a stretch in the second quarter, which I think just, it shows how how much potential he has, especially as a shooter. He made 3 corner threes in a row, and you can fact check me on this. I don't believe any hit the rim. It was all nothing but net. His shot is so pure. In the second half, he had his 4-3. They began to open some pin down actions from the top of the key, 26, 27 footer, nothing but net. He's very consistent. The shot is pure. It looks smooth. It looks great. Um, the Ray Allen comparisons are going to fly throughout the season. He looked like him at moments tonight, but you can just tell, like, he had moments. I think he had 4 turnovers. He got into some spaces where he picked up his dribble and couldn't go anywhere. Was sometimes doing a little too much. He's 19. That's going to happen. But he was tremendous. I mean, apart from George and Middleton, I'd say he was the best player on the team tonight. And for a rookie in his debut, that's certainly something to hold your hat on. So really, really liked what I saw from Tre. He's going to be competing for the Rookie of the Year. I mean, VJ Edgecombe was phenomenal. If you saw him for the Sixers, what do you have, 34 points? So tough act to follow. Cooper Flagg, at the time of recording this in the first half against San Antonio, had 0 points. So it'll fluctuate. You don't want to get too high or too low. But nonetheless, a really fun, really exciting, and good debut for Tre. So that was a positive. Middleton was great as expected. He was great all preseason, great last year. In his return to Milwaukee, it was nice to see them give him his flowers because he was realistically one of the reasons they won that title in 2021. So, was happy for Chris to get that. He led the team with 23 points on 9 of 14 from the field, 3 of 5 from three, 6 boards, 3 assists. If it weren't for him in the first quarter, I think he finished with 8 points. The Wizards would have been down 30. They were only down 17, but they would have been down a lot if he wasn't there to kind of steady the ship. And he did that throughout the course of the game as well. So he's efficient. He's going to be efficient. I thought he was really good. CJ, 4-14, 0 of 6 from 3 was awful. Completely did not expect this after his great preseason. 6 boards, 3 assists, finished with 9 points. Team worst, minus 19. Look, I mean, there were times where I was just in my head, like, screaming, like, pass the ball. There was one really bad one in the second half where the Wizards were on a roll. He had George wide open in the corner, and he decided to take it in, step back, mid-range jumper, and clanked it. Like, there was just a lot of shots I felt like he should have passed up. He was very aggressive. Sure, that's his game. But especially on defense, I mentioned he lost shooters a bunch, got blown by a bunch. I didn't like his performance, and I'm not like jumping ship now. I thought he had a great preseason. It's probably just a bad game, but if we're gonna call it like it is, he was pretty awful, honestly, throughout the night. And they somehow like closed with him. Like he was playing in the fourth quarter. I would have went away from him. Like I would have played Whitmore, who we'll talk about in a second. I would have played Tre, um, but Keith stuck with him. So that's Keith's decision. Um, I mean, apart from that, I mean, Kyshawn George, like let's talk about him for a second. Finished with 21 points, 9 boards, 4 assists, 7 of 15 from the field, 3 of 6 from three. Apart from 4 of 8 from the line, I didn't see anything I hated from his game. He played a lot of point guard too, like on ball reps, 6'9", solid court vision. His handle, man, he had a play at the top of the key where I don't know who was pestering him, but he just went tween behind the back, somehow got to his left, went up and under, reverse lay. Like, it's posted on the Wizards Instagram if you want to see it, but it was just like a showcase of all of the skills that he sort of put together, the handle as well from year one to year two. Clearly worked on it in the offseason. So I really liked him. I like the point guard minutes, and I saw some people saying, is it Bub, or Kyshawn? You just move Bub to the bench. I don't think so. Like I think George is a really nice guy that can be a secondary ball handler, or when Bub comes out, you can trust George to do that. I don't necessarily think his skill set is best suited for that role, at least yet. But nonetheless, when he played guard, like the team played well. So I liked it. It's something that I want to see more. I was intrigued by it. So I liked what Kyshawn did. Defense was obviously great. I think 2 blocks, 1 steal. Had a tough matchup on Giannis, but apart from that, thought he defended the way that I expected him to. So great debut for Kyshawn. He's really emerging from this group as one of the most consistent players, especially from that young core. To round out the starters, I mean, like Bub, 29 minutes, 4 of 9, 3 of 4 from three, 11 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, was a minus 14. You can box score watch there if you want. I didn't think he played well. He had a stretch where he got most of his points in the third quarter, where he had a run where he had 2 straight threes and another mid range. He had 7 points, and apart from that stretch, he had 4 points and didn't shoot particularly well. He was one of 6 apart from that stretch. So Again, you can box to box score watch for him. I did not think he played well. I didn't think he played well as a point guard. And again, I've stressed patience with him. I'm not jumping ship yet. I do think he deserves way more time to learn the position, but he did not play well. And the same goes for Sar. Like Sar, box score watching wise, like 26 minutes, 5 of 10. He had 11 boards, 10 points, 3 assists. It seems like a good game, but I'll just say this about Sar, and before I say the negative part, I'll stress he did not take a 3-pointer, and that in and of itself is awesome news. I talked about the shot diet in the offseason and in the preseason, but the fact that he's taking 10 shots and none of them are threes, last year it would have been probably 5 or 6. Like it would have been a majority 3-pointers. He's being more aggressive. He had a couple nice up and unders in the paint, some nice finishes. I liked that aspect of his game. I will just point you to this moment. I believe it was early in the fourth quarter, he had a mismatch. He had gotten Ryan Rollins switched onto him on the left block, on the left elbow, had backed him down successfully to where he was pretty much 2, 3, 4 feet from the rim, turned to his dominant right shoulder or over his left shoulder to his right hand, and faded away. Faded away. Ryan Rollins cannot be taller than 6'4", 6'5". Alex Sarr is 7'1", 236, and he is still fading away from guards in the post. He faded away. He airballed the 5-foot layup. It's the same issues with him. I don't know why he's so scared, so tentative to put that guy in the rim. Go strong, get fouled, and put him in the rim. Get an end, one opportunity. It seems so easy. And we've seen him do it. We have. So I don't know why he's still scared to go in the paint or scared to go strong when he has a small on him. It makes no sense to me. That was just so infuriating because he had played solid basketball to that point. Like I said, I thought he had the best defensive possessions anyone had this game on Giannis, especially the beginning of the second half. I did. And I thought 5 of 10 from the field, no threes, 11 rebounds. I love that aspect. He was very aggressive on the glass on both ends. But he's still soft on the inside. And you can't have that if you're going to be an everyday NBA center. You can't be tentative or scared to go up, especially when a smaller guy is on you. Can't happen. Simply can't happen. So, look, I don't think he played bad. I don't think he played great. And if that's going to be another theme where he's still fading away with smaller guys on him, then at a certain point you can't defend that, especially when you're 7-1. So that's definitely that can't happen. But like I said, the 11 rebounds, great. Going through my notes here, I touched on Middleton, Whitmore. I wanted to talk about Whitmore real quick. Whitmore was great, and it's nice because like I know Bijan, my friend Bijan Todd told me like he's most excited for Whitmore. Ben Strover, my other friend, said I'm excited for Whitmore. I did I let you guys that follow me do preseason team award predictions, and for the most part, people had Cam Whitmore as the team MVP, the team MIP, the sixth man. They love Cam Whitmore in DC. Wizards fans love him, and he's going to be a fan favorite if he plays the way that he did tonight. 14 points on 6 of 12 from the field, 5 boards. I thought he had 16. Correct me if I'm wrong at one point, but he finished with 14. Very interesting. But he got in a plethora of ways. Made only one of his 5 threes. But again, I like that he's even taking those. But for the most part, his shots came in transition. They came in the lane. And he got fouled. Like he had an and one opportunity where he converted the free throw. There was one play in the first half. It was actually, unfortunately, where Kevin Porter Jr. hurt his ankle. But I mean, Whitmore just ran him over like a freight train. Just ran him over, like he wasn't there. Got fouled. He's like I mentioned, 6'7", 250. You can't stay in front of him. And I like the way that he used that frame to his advantage and kind of played a downhill slashing game as opposed to a perimeter game. And that's kind of what I need to see from him to be that confident. But him and Tre off the bench, 30 points from them, that was certainly something that I was happy with, and I liked his defense. Like I mentioned, they gave him the Giannis assignment a couple times. It didn't go well most of the time, just because it's Giannis again. I didn't fault George or Sarr when it didn't go well either. But they clearly trust him defensively. I liked what I saw from him defensively. So I was really intrigued with what I saw from him. I want to talk about the rotation real quick. It's not a negative or a positive. It kind of bridges the gap because I'm going to get into the negatives, believe me. But the rotation was interesting. Like I I entered the game. We knew the starters would be Bub, CJ, Kyshawn, Middleton, and Sar. We knew that. And I thought the rotation would be nine guys, with Kispert, um, Tre Johnson, Whitmore, and Bagley off the bench. Will Riley checked in towards the end of the first half for a couple minutes and played some in the second, which I thought was odd, I guess. I didn't think that would happen. And then Champagny played some, like in the late third into the fourth quarter. He got hit in the face, I think, so he ended up leaving. But that was also interesting. Like, I don't know if Keefe doesn't know what he's doing. And I'm not saying he doesn't know what he's doing in terms of like the bad connotation. I think maybe he's just throwing pieces out there at this point and seeing like, okay, who's going to earn the minutes? I feel like that's a training camp preseason thing. I've never been a 10 plus guy rotation. Let your best 8 to 9 guys play. If there's a 10th and 11th guy that you think realistically should be playing, then let them earn it in practice. Let them earn it. You're gonna have injuries at some point. I don't like the rhythm that it takes people out of when you're playing so many guys. And he played 11. It was confusing to say the least. He played more, but that was realistically garbage time. Where like you got Sharif Cooper coming in, AJ Johnson played a little bit at the end, Vukcevic as well, Anthony Gill. So it was strange, a very strange rotation. I don't like it. I like the 9 man. I thought they should have cut it off there. And Riley, and I like Champagny, but I don't even think he should have been playing if you're gonna go not that deep. But that's clearly Keith's rotation. I don't know if it's gonna stick, but it's an 11 man rotation where Champagny doesn't play at all in the first half, and then Riley plays barely. I don't know. I was very confused. I left very confused. I'm still very confused. But at the end of the day, the team looked bad, and so if they looked good, maybe I'd be applauding him for playing 11 deep. I don't know, but definitely unique. I'm not saying I have a take whether it's great or not great. I wouldn't do it, but 11 certainly interesting. Now I can get into the cons. I talked as much as I can about the stuff that I liked, and like obviously the third quarter run 10-0, extended 16-3. They outscored them by 8 in the quarter. That was the highlight of it. They cut it to 7. Apart from that, there was a lot of bad. Unfortunately, we got to talk about it. The defense, like I mentioned, was awful. Milwaukee was like 70% from three at a certain point, like 80% through the first 4 minutes of the game. That's got to improve. The transition defense has got to improve, but I talked at length about that in the beginning, so I'm not going to harp on it too much. Um, I talked about SAR's offense. I actually kind of got ahead of myself with a lot of these cons, so I can kind of cross those off. Um, Kispert, let's talk about Kispert real quick. I'm sure a lot of you guys listening, your ears just perked up when I said Kispert because you're probably looking at, okay, will Greg say that he doesn't like him playing as much as you probably think? No, but I did not think he played well. I don't think he played as bad as some people might think. And I think his burst in the third quarter did save him. Like he had a stretch where he hit 3 threes in about 2-3 minutes, and if not for that, it would have been a pretty bad game because up to that point he was struggling. Um, but offensively, I mean, 4 of 8, 3 of 7 from three, 11 points was only a -1 in 18 minutes. Like if you're box score watching, that's not bad. And he was the spark of that run. Realistically, him and Bub, when they started to kind of climb back, but the defense is just bad. Like it's bad. If you watch like the Rockets game against OKC, Reed Shepard had a solid offensive game, but like they just attack him. They just attack him relentlessly. It's not as bad with Corey, but there are times where he'll just lose his man. Like he'll just lose a shooter. It happened a couple times. Same with CJ McCollum too. Corey's not alone in this. The whole team pretty much is bad at defense right now. But it's just kind of I think Wizards fans look for it, honestly. Like I think they've seen it for so long that when it happens, they're like, "Oh, how is that happening again? You got to bench him. You got to get him off the team. You got to trade him." I think that's maybe why it's as big for Corey when he makes a defensive mistake as maybe some other guys, but I didn't think I'll say this. I didn't think he was as bad as maybe some fans think. I also didn't think he was good. Uh, I would still play Champagny over him. Like I stand by that. That was a take I had in the preseason. I stand by that take. I think Champagny gives you way more than Corey. I think he can shoot the way that Corey can. Maybe not as like efficiently or as often, but when he shoots, I'm confident it's going to go in. He's a better driver. I think he's a way better defender, and I think he overall makes this team better. Will it happen? Of course not. We know Corey's going to continue to be a part of the rotation. I'm not advocating for his removal. But look, if it continues like this and the defense still sucks and he's not that great on that end, then why don't you consider a switch? It's also game one, so let's not jump to any conclusions. I did see it though. I mean, if you look at my comments, it's pretty hard for me to avoid the Corey Kispert slander just because it's everywhere. I mean, I'll tweet about Tre Johnson and someone will be like, "Yeah, but did you see Corey Kispert lose Ryan Rollins on that cut?" Like, it's everywhere, and I can't blame Wizards fans because it's not like Kispert's going out there and playing defense to shut them up. But it's going to be a theme throughout the season. He's a trade piece. He's on a good contract. He doesn't fit maybe this timeline or this young core. Wasn't drafted by Dawkins. I get it, right? We'll see if he can do better. Offensively, he was all right tonight, um, but defensively, definitely has to improve. I'm glad I touched on that because if I missed that, I know a lot of people would have been in my mention saying, "How did you not talk about Corey Kispert?" Um, Apart from that, like, oh, here's the last thing I want to talk about. It sucks. I saw a lot of people DM me or ask me how can I watch the game, which is just disheartening. It sucks. Like everyone's so excited for the Wizards to return to play basketball. It's a fun young team. Like tonight maybe wasn't as fun, uh, but it's exciting. Obviously, the start of the season, they want to watch this young team play and compete for 82 games, and for a large chunk of the fan base, especially those in the DMV who have YouTube TV, who have Hulu TV, who want to buy League Pass but can't because it's restricted, for them to not be able to watch their favorite team and be asking me like, Greg, how are you watching? Like, how can I watch? And I can't help them. Like, that sucks. Monumental clearly has shown they don't want to strike a deal with YouTube or Hulu. They have no intention of doing that. I mean, the Caps have been playing for a couple weeks now, and they didn't. The Wizards are playing right now, and there's still no deal. So, like, it sucks for those people that maybe have to switch to cable or find some other avenue, a more expensive avenue. And I've seen people send me clips of Monumental streams crashing. It's a bad situation, and it's disheartening to see that so many Wizards fans that are excited about this team can't watch this team because you know rich companies don't want to step aside and say the fans are more important. Let's come together and make something work. They're not going to do that, and that sucks. So I feel bad for those fans. If you're one of them and you're listening, hopefully my tweets, my coverage, my pod can serve as like something for you to listen to look at, to understand what's going on with this team, the highs and the lows. If you can't watch, that's hopefully the case. But I mean, hopefully everyone can watch. That's the worst part. They also, I think, for government workers that are, I guess, out of work now because of the government shutdown, they're giving 500 free tickets to the home opener. Um, I don't want to be again. This might be a bad take, but like they just have 500 tickets to the opener readily available. I don't want to like come out and say that they are just doing this because they didn't sell 500 tickets and they thought this could be like good publicity. I don't know, and I don't want to put that to light, but it just you didn't sell out your home opener. I don't know what to say. Like it's nice that they're doing this gesture, but you got it. That was my first thought at least. I'll say it like that. I don't want to say that that's what they did, but my first thought was that they just had 500 tickets that they could give away. Is it actually tickets that they can give away, or and they're being nice, or they're just like we have these sitting around? I don't know. But that's another thing that I think sucked about the game is that a lot of people couldn't watch. And maybe those who couldn't watch maybe got saved because it's 2.5, 3 hours. I think a lot of Wizards fans probably won back, apart from the Tre Johnson explosion in the second quarter. But again, just not really a fun game. And look, for a team that said they're going to compete every night and they're going to be better defensively, I saw realistically not much of that, if at all, tonight, and that sucks. But I did see some good. Like I mentioned, Tre Johnson, Alex Sarr played all right. Bob Carrington had some stretches. Kyshawn was phenomenal. Middleton was great. CJ was not. You could pick and choose your spots within this game, within this roster, but that's it. I mean, 13-point loss. I didn't expect them to win at all, obviously, but I expected them to be way more competitive, and they weren't. which sucks. The next up is Dallas on Friday, and they did not look good. They're getting blown out right now by the Spurs, but I'm sure they'll rebound right back with a win against the Wizards. So you're probably looking at 0-2, entering the game against home opener against Charlotte on Sunday. And by the way, they looked good too. So for those thinking that might be an easy win to start the year, I don't know if I'd be so sure. But that's going to do it for this episode. I think at least to begin the year with as much energy and motivation as I have, I'm going to try to do one of these after every game unless it's a back-to-back. So let me know if you kind of like these 30-minute sort of recaps running through what I liked and didn't like about the game. You can always DM me, like I mentioned. You can comment on the pod as well on YouTube or on Twitter. Let me know your thoughts on if you kind of want these after each game. And if you do, then I'll oblige and I'll do it. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode. 133 to 120, Milwaukee defeats Washington in the season opener. We'll be back again Friday to break down the Mavericks versus Wizards game in Dallas. Thanks for listening as always. Go Wiz.